hit stop there. It has nothing to do with trying to get away from the problem, to be political about the problem, to hide from the problem. None of this has anything to do with it. To put off anybody, all of this is direct one-on-one confrontation, but what you're doing is trying to develop the strategy, the statement that is going to end up building the best relationship. You're trying, in all of this, you're trying to build relationships. Your concept, you keep that foremost in your head, that you, with all of this, you have the mission of building a good, solid relationship. You want people to mutually come around to the same point of view. You've spent a lot of time thinking about it, they probably haven't. Is that their fault? No, it's your problem. It's your problem. So in all of this, keep that in mind. That is going to help you more than anything else. So when you think about the line of questioning, you don't really know where a reporter or anybody is going to be coming from with their line of questioning. But you can anticipate that. You go through the strategy we talked about earlier of brainstorming. What are the possible lines of questions? What are the most offbeat? And it's fun to do this too. What are the most offbeat kinds of questions they could possibly ask me? And then strategize on those. But no matter what you do, no matter how complete your drill is on that, there probably will be questions that you're not ready for, that you did anticipate that are going to be tough to answer, and you need to develop a strategy to get to where you want to be. That's where these techniques come in. The bridge is nothing more than the concept implies. They give you the question, you don't want to deal with that question. You don't at all. So rather than to answer that question, you take what they said and bridge to where you want to be. For example, let's say you're talking about the school budget and there's some concern in the reporter's mind that what you're doing with the budget might in fact displace some teachers. There may be layoffs. So the reporter comes in and hits you with a question, gee, Nate, I understand that the budget you're proposing will actually cause the removal of 7 teachers. The bridge response to that is, well, that's an interesting question, but let me talk to you about what I'm putting into this budget and why it has to be that way. So you haven't responded to that specific question, but you have all of a sudden taken him over here to where you want to talk about it. Because that's going to help prepare the general public for understanding why you might in fact have to lay 7 people off, if in fact that's the case. You see that concept? The dock is similar, it's just going under. It's very, very much like a bridge. It's just that you're docking the specific question and only going to respond. You're not even making the bridge, you're not even acknowledging the question. You're simply saying, I need to talk with you about my budget, and here are the facts that I need to present to you. So you're not acknowledging their question at all. So you literally are ducking the question and going to that. Given the choice, I kind of like the bridge myself, because it does at least keep you in a relationship with the reporter. It tells them you have, at least in part, heard the question, but you're not going to answer it, and you get where you want to go. The blanket is sort of the dampening effect. It's just you take the concept of a blanket covering the whole thing. You just hit them with so much that they can't possibly get around it. It's covered, completely covered, not covered up, but covered in terms of detail and information, or in a stopping kind of a phrase. Blanket something you simply say, I have no more information to tell you about that. It's a matter of litigation. I can't discuss it any further. That's a blanket. It's covered. It's over. There's nothing more you're going to deal with on that. It's not hiding anything. It's always, you definitely want to avoid trying to hide or get political or play any kind of games and stuff, because it just will come back to haunt you. Those concepts make sense? Bridge, duck completely without acknowledging the question, and blanket, just completely cover it. There's nothing more anybody can do about it.
It takes some real skill doing it. That's not something you just pick up like that.
Right, but it'll come to you, okay, as you think about these concepts, and if you do these drills, and in fact we're going to do one right now. I would like you, I don't know, why don't you 3 be part of one team? We're going to just take 5 or 10 minutes to do this real quick, like you get a sense. You 2 be a part. Any of you could get any of these questions. I don't want you to think of your normal roles here. You're all, as far as I'm concerned, superintendents or athletic directors or assistants or whatever. Okay, so the categories we're going to talk about. The categories. The categories I'm going to tell you about. I mean, this is the checklist now. I've called you up as a reporter. I want to schedule an interview. Your first question to me is?
What's it about?
Okay.
Concerning what?
Yeah,
Okay.
what? Yeah, what?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, what?
Oh, you must be the AD.
What you want, boy?
Do what?
The categories that each of you could get are budget, school budget, not surprising, right? Health,
Health?
Health-related issues, yep.
athletics, these are no surprise, right? And finally, general education. Okay? Now those are four possible categories that I could interview you about. Your temptation would be to probably ask, well, can you give me a little bit more? And you probably should ask that, but I'm not going to give you any more right now. And that may be an option the reporter will give you too.
Then is one of our options saying that we're not going to talk with you?
Well, it might, is it counterproductive?
Would you know, an example, like if someone called and said, I want to interview concerning the school budget,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't my normal thing on the phone would be, like, what specifics do you really want to talk about in the school budget, because it's such a large,
Yeah.
wouldn't I try to narrow it down? You've given us four
Broad
biggies.
categories.
Yeah.
You're-
Wouldn't our technique be to narrow it down to at least what they're, even though they can ask anything they
I'll
want?
give you a shortcut on this. Is what my favorite out is on that. It's sort of like recognizing their jargonese. What's your angle? Yeah. Okay. And they might say, well, I don't want to talk to you about that. Just can we have the interview? Well, I just want to try to help you out the best I can. If you can give me a sense of where your angle is, and I can be prepared to give you the best story. I don't want you to give me questions. Just give me your angle. And that works usually for me. And then if you don't get anywhere from that, you have to make a decision. You're on your own and be prepared. So those are your categories. And I'm not going to give you the angle. Okay? Because I might change the angle when we get into the interview. I haven't decided yet. But that's the reporter's option too, depending on, again, if I'm a reporter and I think you're attempting to be cute with me or to try to get around me, I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be probably pretty rotten in the interview set in the state, and you can count on that. Especially, it's less so on a local level when you have to deal with a paper every week, like the local papers you deal with. But as you start to get to Boston and larger network news, I've dealt with 60 Minutes. I've dealt with national network news. They don't give you that kind of cut latitude. So you really need to participate. You may not have that luxury. And definitely don't play games with it. So given that in mind, just take a few minutes, no more than 10, to strategize on the kinds of questions you think could be asked, and more important, think about some of the answers from the perspective of bridging, blanketing, and ducking. That make sense?
Yes.
So we really want to capture the facial expression. And I'll give you a chance to get in on that, okay? That's recording now.
Right, I just,
Oh, okay. Yeah, so when you,
I'll tight it. Go and tight.
yeah.
Why don't you stand over there for me, Dex, so I can just, please. Yep,
All right.
perfect, yep.
The fact of the matter of video is that no matter what happens, you look 10 to 20% heavier. Everybody does.
But I am
Oh,
10 to
great.
20% heavier.
Okay. Since you went first, you have a preference for the category?
The easiest one.
The easiest one. I don't know if I have one of those.
General?
General.
We'll go with
Lady, you gotta go with this.
Now, the first thing you have to do in an interview is part of the procedure. Now, if you had had the option, I didn't give you one, you might choose another place in this room. For example, that I think is a lot more appealing and interesting depending on the issue. But this might set the tone for a serious kind of response. I'm a professional. What you're going to hit me with are professional area. On the other hand, if you were talking about kids and Spirit Week or something like that, that would be the choice right away. Or if you were talking about community, you might choose one of these great images of schools in the community. The message is different in each one, okay? So you need to think about what's the emotional. Choosing this, if you're talking about an issue to do with mom and apple pie and all of the good things about what the school is trying to do, or if that's where you want to turn the conversation, that's perfect. It's a perfect kind of a emotional message.
Should there be a preference, along the same line, should there be a preference as far as sitting and standing?
Yeah.
That's your choice. Now, what will a reporter, depending on the nature of their medium, will choose different settings. There are techniques. I'm going to ask that we go through the standing because this is the most uncomfortable. On the other hand,
Just gonna say I'd rather sit.
yeah,
You already answered what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
okay,
I'm gonna sit.
and they want you to be uncomfortable. They want you to be off guard. It's too easy for you to take a guarded position in a seated setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what you can do is to anchor yourself, and I'll talk about that very quickly. What you do in a chair, the reporters have techniques for getting you off guard in chairs too, but that's another whole subject we could go on about. We can talk about it very briefly if you want. First of all, you need to center your body. And the simplest way I know of doing that is to get all of your weight onto one foot or the other, whichever is the most comfortable, without slouching.
1 foot or the other?
You know, just either
Just sort of let your body center on one foot or the other.
so that you
Okay?
feel comfortable
And
instead
that,
of
by the
standing.
way, is not only an anchoring technique, but it's all there's a step you can take to take the nervousness out of your body in that position. The image that you should remember is that of a bird, ties in with our duck a little bit, but that of a bird hanging onto a branch. Clench your toes into the bottom.
Oh,
Clench your toes as if you're trying to grab that branch into the bottom of your shoes. And what that does, believe it or not, is drain the emotion to your feet. It takes the nervousness out of your face and it allows you to relax.
But boy, are my feet nervous.
And that doesn't matter because those don't show, right? So that's the technique, and it works. Believe me.
I'll believe you.
And so if you ever,
I just, the 1 foot is what, that surprises me, but.
yeah. Now what happens is you get 2 feet and then you get this kind of swaying activity that we see on TV makes people seasick. So you really need to anchor.
I'm anchored.
And then you can shift that, but what you'll tend to do if you shift it, you're going to be in the same general plane. Okay, so there's nothing distracting anything from you. They're going to try to get on your face primarily. Okay, and that's the camera person's responsibility is to hold that. So you don't really have to worry about it. What I'm trying to get you to do is to relax, get more comfort. And you feel more comfortable if you're anchored in a standing position, and if you use that other technique. As simple as it seems. Okay?
Yep, my toes are great.
All right. So if you're comfortable with that, and there are, you're going to be, depending on what's happening, especially in a school setting, you're going to have kids doing that, and it's going to be tough to try to
That was a backhanded
go with that. Remember one thing: anything that is going on can be edited. Anything. Okay. So if somebody distracts you that way, go with it. Laugh about it if you want, and then come back. The reporter is going to go with that too. They're not up there. Okay. Suzanne, I'm going to put you in the characteristic of a principal of a high school. Okay. Suzanne, just today a story broke in a national basis, national media story, about a young woman who wants to go to the prom in her school, and she wants to take a woman friend as her date to the prom. Is there a policy here in Portsmouth for that kind of an activity?
It's a very appropriate question for these times. We've had
many of our students from